Hello, second grade. This week you are reading Sit In, Four Friends Stood Up by Sitting Down. This week in writing, we have been using the OREO method to write an opinion on whether or not you think it is a good idea to have a sit in and stand up for yourself. Go ahead and get your organizer. If you do not have it with you, go ahead and pause the video and get it. If you have not completed the last 4 previous assignments yet, you will want to go back to those lessons before completing this one. And the last assignments this week, we have learned about the OREO method for opinion writing. Remember that OREO stands for O stands for opinion, our introduction. R stands for our 3 reasons. E stands for our 3 examples that supports our 3 reasons. And the last O is our opinion restated. We have already filled out our organizer. We have our opinion, our hook. We have our 3 reasons. We have our 3 examples. We wrote our opinion restated in different words, our conclusion. Now, today, we are going to take our organizer, and it's time to transfer our organizer into paragraphs. Let's take a look at our organizer filled out and all of its parts. We have our topic, that's our question. We have our opinion, our hook, our introduction. We have our 3 reasons. We have our 3 examples that supports our 3 reasons. And then we have our opinion restated. Now we are going to transfer each part into our paragraphs. For this part, you can write it on a separate piece of paper, or you can type it directly into SmartFox. You can also type it into a Google Doc if that might be easier. So any way that you want to write your paragraph, you can write it with pencil on a piece of paper, you can type it into SmartFox, or you can write it on a Google Doc. We want to start our writing with our opinion, our hooks. Oh, that is our first O. Go ahead and read your opinion. I believe that it is a good idea to have a sit in and stand up for yourself. Yours might be different. You may think it's a good idea, you may think it's a bad idea. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take that sentence and we're going to write it into our first sentence for our paragraph. I believe that it is a good idea to have a sit-in and stand up for yourself. The opinion is going to be a paragraph all on its own. Remember to indent when we start a paragraph. And remember, when we indent, what that means is that we have some space, we put some space, and then we start writing. But if we go to the next line, we don't need to add that space for our next line. That lets our readers know that that is one that lets our readers know that that's an idea that you are having that's different from the rest of the ideas. If you are typing, the way that you indent is you press the tab key. If you hit the tab key, that will automatically indent for you. So go ahead and pause the video now while you start your writing. You can play again to continue when you are finished writing your opinion. Now we are going to add our first reason and examples. So look at your first reason and your first example. Your first reason example will be one paragraph. For example, start writing your first reason in a new paragraph. To do that, we just go down to the next line. So we have our first sentence. And now to write our new paragraph, we go down to the next line and then we indent again. So again, we leave that space and we indent again. If you're typing, you're going to hit the tab key. You're going to go to the next line and hit the tab key. So I look at my first reason and it says to start sit-ins are a great way to prove a point. So I'm going to take that same exact sentence and I'm going to write it. Go down to the next line, I indent and I write to start sit-ins are a great way to prove a point. So that's my first reason. Then in the same paragraph, I'm going to write my first evidence or example that supports that reason. In the story, sit in how four friends stood up by sitting down, the Black students had a sit in for equal rights. I'm going to take that and I'm going to continue writing. So there it is. In the story, sit in how four friends stood up by sitting down, the Black students had a sit in for equal rights. So after I write my first reason, I write my first example in the same paragraph. So I do not need to indent. Notice how there's no space there because it's the same paragraph. So I do not need to indent. The reason I don't need to indent is because the sentence is supporting the reason. It is talking about the same thing. That is why we do not need a new paragraph. You can pause now to write your first reason and example, and you can play when you are ready to continue. Now you are going to do the same thing, but for your second reason and your second example. This is going to be a new paragraph because it is about a different reason or idea. So what we need to do is now go down to the next line and indent again. Notice how that there's that space. So we need to indent again before we start writing our new paragraph. For example, here's my second reason. Next, many people can participate in sit-ins. And then I continue with my second example. For example, more and more people participated in sit-ins at Woolsworth Restaurant. Notice how there's no more indent. We only indent the beginning of that paragraph. You can pause now while you write and press play when you are ready to move on. Next, you are going to do the same thing, but for your third reason and third example. So you're looking at your third reason and your third example. Again, this is a new paragraph because it is about a different reason or idea. So we need to go down to our next line and indent before we start writing. So remember, we leave that space and then start writing our new paragraph. If you're typing, you're going to press the tab key to indent. For example, here is my third reason. So I'm looking here at my third reason, and I'm going to take that sentence and copy it down. Most importantly, people need to stand up for themselves to make changes. Now I'm going to continue to write my third example. I'm going to take that sentence and I'm going to continue writing. It's a new sentence, so I'm starting with a capital letter. In other words, the students help change the world because now everyone can eat together. So there is my third reason and my third example. Don't forget to indent. Go ahead and write your third reason and third example. You can pause now while you write and press play when you are ready to move on. Lastly, we are going to start a new paragraph. So we are going to go to the next line and indent. So we're going to start our new paragraph. So we go down, this is where I ended, we go to the next line, and then we indent, or if you're typing, you press tab. And in this last part, we are going to write our opinion that's restated in different words. So you're going to take this sentence and we are going to add it here. So as you can see, I think that we should stand up for what we believe in. Sit-ins are a good way to do that. So go ahead and write your restated opinion. Don't forget to indent. You can pause now and play when you are ready to continue. Okay, so here is your paragraph. Go ahead and put your name at the top if you haven't done so already. Before you submit, double check to make sure your sentences make sense. Make sure each paragraph is indented. Make sure you started your sentences with a capital letter. Make sure you have your period at the end. And most importantly, make sure you have all your parts. When you are ready to submit, go ahead and submit. You can upload the Google Doc into SmartFox, or you can take a picture of your actual handwriting and submit it that way. Great job, everybody.